Hello everybody and welcome to Smart Factory Kaiserslautern. My name is Svenja Knetsch and I'd like to welcome you to our showroom, as you can see behind me. Today we have two of our partners here because we are an independent research network where science and industrial partners meet to solve problems and challenges for the production of the present and the future. Like we do in our working groups where we, for example, discuss about security in automation processes. Our two partners are here today to work on those topics, and I'd like to give over the word to Fujitsu and Pilz.
Well, thank you very much, Svenja. I'll introduce myself as a first. My name is Jamie Wilkie. I work for Fujitsu, where I am the product owner for our global OT cybersecurity services. And I'm joined today by Hansjörg from Pilz.
Hi, Jamie. I'm Hansjörg Sperling-Wohlgemuth from Pilz, and I'm in for public relations. And my topic is, and my goal is to communicate. And why are we communicating today? And why we are talking today? Because of the topic of cybersecurity, industrial security is very important, Jamie.
Exactly,
Yeah?
and closely linked to safety, core topic of Pilz.
Of course. And what happened to us? Okay, we got hacked. In 2019, we got hacked. And as you see, maybe on the slide now, we got hacked. And I went, it was the 14th of October in 2019. And I saw this picture on the drawer, and on that day I couldn't work. I'm in for communication, and we got hacked. And the other days we couldn't work. Well, we were in for communication, and what happened? Well, hackers went in our systems, and we got blocked, and we got we had no possibility to produce, and from this point of view, you see the production on this slide, on this picture. Well, the hackers came in very classical via an email attachment.
Okay.
Yes. And then we found the traces. The hackers came in also via an open VPN port in the OT security.
So they first entered?
Yes.
By email?
Yes.
And then they stayed for a while?
Yeah.
And they discovered your environment?
That's it.
And during this period, they discovered the next access point
They were
into the core of your production?
Yes, they were in our system, in our network all over the world, I think over more than 2-3 months. Yeah? And that's, you can't feel it. When you are infected, you can't feel it immediately. So they came in, and then on this day they decided, okay, let's hack this company.
And I have to just so we can imagine it. So you have a headquarter campus,
yes,
with your headquarter IT and the main production plant. And then I think I'm right in saying something like 42 other facilities around the world.
Yes, worldwide.
And you had no idea how much of that entire system was infected.
So,
what did you do?
Well, first of all, we decided not to pay any money to the hackers. Okay,
so
that was really
top of the company. Family Pilz said we won't pay.
That was really a brave decision, and we are really thankful for that braveness. But then the work started, to get all the data back, to get the production run. And of course we had a plan, but it wasn't on print, We had the print in our systems. So now we can laugh, but it was really a bad situation. Yeah?
And who were the key partners? How did you get out of it?
Well, okay, the key partners, of course, the police. Yeah, the key partners were at those times our service partners, our service providers, who were the specialists of IT and OT security. and our specialists, the main thing was to reactivate or to activate all the knowledge in our company. All the people who know something about IT, we worked in groups, we reinstalled, as you see on the slides, we met and the stairwell, and then we just worked by post-its, step by step, and we got the production working in 1 week's time.
That's pretty impressive.
And first of all, you keep contact to your customers. Yeah. First of all, you have to inform them to know what they ordered. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we started production again. Yeah. After 1 week's time. It's our learnings somehow out of that. Okay. Our learnings, you have to reinstall everything, every item, because you don't know when the hackers went into your system.
Right.
Okay. And you have to work on all the software behind our products, and we learned that's most important. The most important thing to work in zones, yeah. Mm-hmm. To divide the company into zones, mm-hmm. and to therefore you are really flexible, and it's like the conduits in zones. The principle of reorganize the company within those organizations and within.
That's really interesting what you're saying, because this expression zones and conduits, it comes from one of the classic OT standards, the IEC 62443 standard.
Yes.
And it's normally used to refer to how we organize the network.
Yes.
And you raised that to an organizational principle of how you organize the network of people, mm-hmm. not just mm-hmm. routers and switches, mm-hmm. but people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people are the most important, because now we are working, or after that we are working on the awareness, of the people, because that could happen again, and this could happen also to other companies. Mm-hmm. So we want to share our knowledge, to share our experience, mm-hmm. to tell the people how they can react. We don't want to get advices, mm-hmm. but we want to build up awareness, which is very, very important. Yeah. And the question is now, who are the players in that whole system?
Exactly. I think what is interesting is the way you described how the leadership as it first worked. So clearly, it's the leadership has played a really important as a role here. I think it was fascinating to hear about this initial decision. We are not going to pay. Yeah. We're going to get ourselves out of this mess, but we find the right partners, including the police. Yeah. I believe I'm right in saying that subsequently the police were then also able to track the perpetrators.
Of course, they could track the perpetrators. And it also led to, during the investigations, they caught the people somehow.
It was even led to a prosecution, which is I think a strong message. But when we collaborate together, mm-hmm. you collaborated with the authorities, mm-hmm. that you did the right thing for Pilz, but you also did the right thing for the community.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's part of the question of who are the players.
Of course.
In a manner of speaking, we're all players, mm-hmm. even if we're not cyber people. Everybody has a role to play. Mm-hmm. I can maybe do one thing. There's a picture as we sometimes like to use to describe what it is we're talking about in OT. If we can have maybe the next slide, this one here. There's a picture on the right-hand side which comes from Purdue University in America, which worked on industrial automation way back in the 1990s. And there's a kind of a picture which is an abstract model of how the system works. And it's really interesting because it also shows you where the people fit in. It starts at the bottom by saying you've got as a physical machines, as like we have as a here, as a right we're standing in front of.
Standing in front of the machine.
Which are doing the real physical work, and which also have to operate safely, of course. Real machines, by the way, as you said, when they get delivered to customers, typically nowadays they themselves have software on board, so it itself has to be cyber secure. Anyway, the lowest level is the machines. These machines being controlled at the next level by specialized electronics, PLCs, programmable logic controllers, the likes from Siemens, Rockwell, as a Honeywell, which you can see in some of the boxes around the conveyor belt as a here. That then being controlled at the level of perhaps a whole production line as a SCADA system, supervisory control systems. Interestingly, from a technology point of view, at this point we begin to see classic IT equipment being used, but in a very specialized way in production. Often in a frozen configuration with old machines down at the bottom, which of course leads to us having this is the brownfield world. This is why you've got Windows XP and Windows 95 is still in use. We had a lovely example of this. We went into a plant making industrial foam. And that foam is then used, for instance, for the seats inside as automobiles. And we conducted as an assessment, and at the end of it, the people had enough trust in us on the shop floor that they showed us the hidden cabinets. And in there was the Windows 95 box, controlling the most important process in the whole factory. Every day when the lorries had arrived, with the chemicals, and the contents was downloaded into the tanks for production, this little Windows 95 box was controlling the process, because the programmer and the machinery, nobody understood anymore. It was just there and it was vital. And that is so typical for production. And that at scale, maybe in a larger organization. So that's sort of the next layer. And the final layer in the OT space being when you do the production process across a whole plant. So manufacturing execution systems. And that then in this picture facing into the blue layers, which is your classic IT with your CRM systems, ERP, and email. And there
I see the people in the blue layer.
Right, and you don't, I know what's coming now. And you don't see the people in the grey layer. I think I have to work on this slide. I've described a technology stack, but this is absolutely a stack of people. And I mean, they are different people. IT is not OT, and that starts with IT people not being OT people. As an IT person, the first thing I have to learn is humility. If you go into production, this is not the world where everything is virtual. This is not move fast and break things. This is a serious production environment, potentially a dangerous environment. Where the priorities are safety, 3 times underlined. And then when we talk about availability, we're not talking about the availability of data, we're talking about the availability of the physical production process. And IT people need to learn that, and the OT colleagues have to help us to create entire systems which are going to work.
There's a saying that safety protects the human beings from the machine, and security stands for protecting the machines from human beings.
Right.
Or from manipulation also, could be, It's not always the human being or sometimes it could be failure in how do you call it, in switching or something like that. Could be also failure.
That's right. So, but you're right, because you asked the question at the beginning, who are the actors?
Who are the actors?
That's the right way to look at this. This is very much a people business, because the threats which we're all exposed to are ultimately driven by people and their motivation. So you certainly have the threat actors as people. Within our organizations, so we have broadly spoken an OT community, an IT community. They're often different silos organizationally. They have different budgets. They have different reporting lines. They have to learn as to work together. With that, as I say, with that as a understanding that the other people actually have something sensible to say. And I think that what we need to do is we need to be looking at the people. We then need to, of course, have a look at the technology and as a known as a weaknesses, and we need to bring that together at the process level. And the processes become as a key. And it was a great example. You saying you'd even thought about an incident response as a process, but unfortunately it was locked away on a computer when you got hacked. I mean, But having the processes in place, practicing them, as they're going through them, it's so easy to say it, but it's so hard to do. We often see in production environments that something like an incident response process is not established the way it is on the IT side of the house. And another big difference is that in the IT world, we tend to have a really good handle on the assets. We know all the machines we're dealing with. In OT, it's often not like that. People don't know what machines are on the shop floor or what electronics and computers are controlling them. If you're lucky, there's a production manager with an Excel table, but in all likelihood, that is not up to date, and it's certainly not visible across the whole corporation. It's only visible in that silo. So getting that asset visibility in there, I think, is also a key step. And again, it's about as an organization and getting the people together.
Getting people together. And thank you to the Smart Factory to bring us together, and that we can work on these topics. Thank you so much.
It'll be like that with the Smart Factory, but in future a production environment is more like a data center. And we're looking very much at organizing as the processes. There will be an administration shell, for instance. It's almost like the operating system of the Smart Factory, and that of course is why we're here together in Kaiserslautern.
Yeah, thank you. That was a very interesting insight in the real world of the automation and what can happen if the topic of security is not adequately worked at.
Exactly.
And forever keep in mind, print out your emergency plans. So if you have any further questions to Fujitsu or Pilz, you can write an email to those two guys. You can find the contact data on the sheet you can see on the screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.